Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I pay my homage to Buddha Dhamma Sangha, to Bhadabhante, Guru Bhante Bhikkhu Sangha. I give my metta to Anagarkas and Upasakas, Upasikas. So now is the time to listen to few words of the Buddha, which is called Dhamma. As I mentioned, that when we do chanting and meditation, our mind becomes much peaceful and ready to grasp the teaching of the Buddha. The mind is in a better position to be able to understand the Dharma. So today it is a very good sutta about one person called Vajjiyamāhita, and about him and his interaction with other religious group, and what is the Buddha's attitude or perspective about other religious group also. Because in India, in the Buddha's time, and even now, more so in Buddha's time, there were so many different spiritual thinkers, practitioners, different groups. 6 of them very popular. Among them, one is Mahavira, the Jain founder. So like that, there were different religious group. You can call it religious group also, spiritual, religious group, you can call it. Today also you hear about different gurus, having different ways of teaching, understanding about the religion, about the teaching, about the Dharma, about life, about how to be happy. So it's interesting and about that in today's talk. So today's sutta. So Buddha was staying in a place called Champa at the Gaggara lake. There was a lake called Gaggara. And at that time, Vajjiyamāhita, the householder, left Champa in the middle of the day to see the Blessed One. But the thought then occurred to him, now is not the right time to see the Blessed One, for he is in seclusion. And it's not the right time to see the monks who develop the mind, for they are in seclusion. What if I were to visit the park of the wanderers of other persuasion? So he headed to the park of wanderers of other persuasion. So this person, Vajjiyamāhita, he was a householder, which means he was not a monk. Right? So in Buddha's teaching, there is monastic and householder. There are 2 categories of people in Buddhist teaching. One is the monk, one is the family people. So he, in the middle of the day, he thought to go to the Buddha, and he went. But then he realized that, it is daytime, it is not the right time to go to the Buddha, and also to see the monks, because in the daytime the monks would be practicing meditation or having some Dhamma teaching or Dhamma learning, you see. So it is not the right time to go to the monks, go to the Buddha in the daytime, in the afternoon time. So that is one, or even forenoon, let's say somewhere between more early morning till afternoon. That's the time when the monks, they are busy with their own meditation practice, learning the Dhamma. So it is not the right time. That's what he thought. And it is so, because monks also have a lot of things to do. Okay, so don't think the monks are just sitting in the monastery, free, doing nothing, lazy fellows. Don't think like that, right? The monks have a very strict schedule. Wake up early morning, all the way till late evening. They have a strict schedule, and they have a food time. They can't eat all the time. They have to eat between sunrise to noon, right? So then they have to meditate, learn Dharma, recite that Dharma again, think about Dharma, practice. So a lot of things are there. So it was wise of Vajjiyamāhita to think about the time. So it is a good, I think, something we can learn, that we should respect people's time. We should see when to meet people, when not to meet people. We should try to see the right time so that we are not disturbing, intruding in other space at the wrong time. So he thought like that, but then he thought, okay, so for the time being, I can go to the park of wanderer of other persuasion. So some other sect, some other monk. So maybe they don't have I don't know why he thought like that, but he went there. So now on that occasion, the wanderer of other persuasion had come together in a gathering and were sitting, discussing many kinds of bestial topic, making a great noise and racket. They saw Vajjiyamāhita, the householder, coming from afar, and on seeing him, hush one another, be quiet, good sir, don't make any noise. Here comes Vajjiyamāhita, the householder, a disciple of Gautama, the contemplative. He is one of those disciples of Gautama, the contemplative, clad in white, who lives in Savatthi. These people are fond of coitude and speak in praise of coitude. Maybe if we perceive our group as quiet, he will consider it worth his while to come our way. So the wanderers fell silent. So he thought, meantime, to go to other religious group at their park. And when he went there, they were talking all kinds of things, making noise and kind of arguing or debating, all of that happening. So they saw this Vajjiyamāhita, the householder, Vajjiyamāhita, they saw him coming from far. And they told one another, keep quiet, don't talk, don't make noise. This Vajjiyamāhita, he's coming. So maybe Vajjiyamāhita was quite maybe known person. He might have been a kind of known person in the city. So they saw him and he said, he's coming. He is the disciple of Gautama. And he's one of those who are in white dress and who lives in Savatthi. And those people are generally quiet, generally prefer silence, quietness, calmness. So let us not talk too much, so that when he comes, he may think of having a conversation with us, or he may like it, So this is the thing here. So generally, when you come to the vihara, so be quiet. Don't talk too much. Yeah? Don't make too much noise, because in the vihara we should be generally quiet, because this is a place. This vihara, this monastery is for everyone to come and just be quiet, just be silent. Because we can talk a lot when you are outside and in your home, right? So it is important to, when you come to the vihara, to just meditate, because if you are talking, too much, we are disturbing other people, right? Because why people are coming to the Vihara? To seek peace, to seek calmness, right? So this is something we can learn. And I think not only Vihara, but even in our own daily life, whether in the home, office, and wherever, we should try to be less talkative, less talking, because if we talk too much, then we are kind of spoiling our mind, because we'll be talking something wrong about people. It is very much possible that we end up speaking something ill about others, right? So it's better to talk less, right? If, as Buddha said, that if you don't have anything important to talk, it is better to be quiet, better to be silent. So that's something we can learn, because that way we will be much more peaceful within ourselves, because a lot of argument come because we talk too much, right? In the process, we talk all kinds of nonsense, because a lot of things are not necessary to be talked about, There are a lot of things in our own life or in the society that we don't need to talk, right? It is not necessary for us to talk too much, right? We can spend our time in something which is healthy, which is maybe read something or discuss something, but it is not very good to talk too much. Then Vajjiyamāhitasutta, the householder, went to where the wanderers of other persuasions were staying. On arrival, he greeted them cautiously. After an exchange of friendly greetings and courtesies, he sat to one side. As he was sitting there, the wanderer said to him, "Is it true, householder, that Gautama the contemplative criticizes all asceticism, that he categorically denounces and disparages all ascetics who live the rough life?" Then this Vijayamāhita, he went to them and he greeted them, namaste, like that. And he asked them, all the greetings, like how are you, how are you doing, like that, some kind of friendly talk, friendly greetings. And then he sat there. Then these wanderers, you can call them, in the modern world, you can call them maybe some monk, there are also some monk. So they ask him, is it true, so they're asking that, is it true that Gautama, the Gautama, which means Buddha was from a Gautama family, so they call Buddha as Gautama. So they ask him that, does he criticize, is it true that he criticizes all kinds of asceticism, which means all kinds of practices, religious practices. Asceticism, we can say religious practice, specifically which is practiced by monks, sadhus, sannyasas, brahmacharis, like that, right? Or even some devotees also, some lay followers also. So does he criticize? So, they were thinking that Buddha is somebody who is against all kinds of religious practices, especially hard kind of life, right? Something which is hard, some kind of tapasya, some kind of tapasya we can say in the modern world. Like for example, say sometime you do upavasa, during some time upavasa, or say you give up something, sometime you will say you will not sleep you will sleep on the ground, or having some upavasa, and all kinds of things, right? So some kind of like even in the Buddhist teaching, there are 13 dhutangas. Dhutangas means which is optional, that the Buddha that the Buddha gave to the monk, which are optional, such as to only stay in the forest, to only stay under a tree, to only eat by, bhiksham, pindapata we call it, alms round. When the monks go from house to house, without asking, just standing there. If people like, they can give that practice. And so also other practices, or using only clothes which are made from the cloth that are thrown on the road or in the cemeteries, using such cloth, collecting them, stitching them, and coloring them, dyeing them, and wearing such kind of practices, which even Buddhist monks they do, but which are not mandatory. The Buddha gave them as some voluntary, optional practices. So they were asking that, does the Buddha, criticizes all of that? Because remember that in the first teaching, Buddha said that avoid all kinds of extremes. One is sensual indulgence, another is self-torturing. So there are two things. Like as a family man, many people used to engage in sensual pleasures. Like eating, sleeping, or all kinds of pleasures you can understand, right? Music, dance, and all other kinds of things. So going toward that in an extreme way, right? You are enjoying your life is good, but if you are going in an extreme form, right? You are like addicted or obsessed, and also having this ideology, having this view, this thinking that this is the way, that just enjoy life, enjoy as much as you want, go to, what they call the party hard, that kind of thing. So just do that, So that's another, the Buddha said it is an extreme, because Buddha himself as a prince, he had 3 palaces, right? He had all the enjoyments. He did it to the fullest, but he found not much there, right? That is why he said avoid that, right? Another one is, then when he became a monk, Buddha, also he went under different teacher. He learned from different teachers at that time for 6 years. And most of his time during that 6 years, he spent in self-torturing, like not eating for many days, exposing himself to the scorching sun or chilly winter water during the winter, like that, torturing oneself, so that thinking that this will give you religious, that mukti, or that religious awakening, understanding, or power, or whatever we look for. So he was doing that, right? So these are the 2 extremes which Buddha kind of advised not to follow, not to go through these 2 extremes, right? So maybe they are thinking that Buddha is telling not to go to any kind of tapasya, So they are asking like that. So then what Vajjiyamāhita, what is his answer, what he says? No, Venerable Sir, the Blessed One does not criticize all asceticism, nor does he categorically denounce or disparage all ascetics who live the rough life. the Blessed One the rough life. The Blessed One criticizes what should be criticized and praises what should be praised, criticize what should be criticized, praising what should be praised. The Blessed One is one who speaks making distinction, not one who speaks categorically on this matter. So what this Mahita he is saying is that no, Venerable Sir, no Bhante. So, no Sir, the Buddha does not criticize all kinds of tapasya, all kinds of ascetic practice, all kinds of, you can say, sadhana or tapasya in modern word, if you say tapasya, sadhana, all kinds of things. So he does not criticize all, right? He is not criticizing all kinds of tapasya. Nor does he categorically denounce or disparage all ascetics who live rough life. He also doesn't say that all the sadhus, sannyasas, they are doing wrong. He's also not saying that, right? The Blessed One criticizes what should be criticized, praise what should be praised. So Buddha, he criticizes something which needs criticism. He praises something which needs praise. Criticizing what should be criticized and praised. The Blessed One is making distinction. So the Buddha makes distinction. He understands what are the good and bad practices in different communities or religious communities or individuals. Not one who speaks categorically on this matter. So he won't generalize. In other words, we can say, he doesn't generalize. Buddha doesn't say that, okay, only my practice is good, everybody's is wrong. He doesn't say that, right? What he says is that in some communities, if they are practicing in a way, then he will say, there is something which they are doing wrong, and something which they are doing right. So Buddha sees that, then accordingly he will say, this is good, this is right. So what we can see here is that Buddha, he is very much careful and very wise about other religious group, right? So because in the Samana tradition, Samana, it is called Samana tradition. Samana means, you can say, all the sadhus, sannyasa, brahmacharis, who are like a monk, right? Who left home, who are not family people. Like, for example, Mahavira. I mentioned Mahavira, all of you may be knowing, but there were other teachers also who are not known now. For example, Pakuta Kachayana, Sanjaya Belattriputta, Purana Kassapa, Makhali Gosala. Such teachers were there. But today we only know Buddha, Mahavira mostly, when it comes to, say, sadhus, long, like in those times, 6th century BC. Of course, later there were many other sadhu also, but like in the modern, like say, Shankaracharyas and all those people. So Buddha is saying that he praises. If there is some good thing in other religious group, he will praise, he will say, that's good, there is good. So we cannot generalize, right? We cannot say everything is wrong, everything is right in this community, everything is wrong, right in this community, everything is wrong. Like that we can't say, we cannot generalize. We have to see, because if you have that kind of view, then it is a very, very, very dangerous, very, very much risky, because that way you will start hating people, right? You will start hating other groups, other religious group, which is not a good thing, right? There will be no religious tolerance, right? So in every religion you will see something. So you have to know. If you are criticizing other group, it is better to first know that group, right? It is better to know what they are practicing, what is their teaching, to know everything. maybe within that you will find something good, something not good, right? So if something is not good, you have to say this is not good. If something is good, you have to say this is good, right? So like that, that is the Buddha's outlook, Buddha's attitude. So this is what Vijjayamāhita he is saying. When this was said, one of the wanderers said to Vajjiyamāhita, the householder, "Now, wait a minute, householder, this contemplative Gautama, whom you praise, is a nihilist, one who doesn't declare anything." So one of the sadhus, so he said, wait, householder. Householder means, sir or family person. Or he says, there's Samana Gautama, that is Gautama Buddha. He is a nihilist, which means he doesn't declare anything, right? Which means he doesn't have his own view, right? He will say, okay, there is something good here, something bad there, like that. But he doesn't have his own strong view, right? Because, we should also have our view, right? We cannot say that, we cannot say that, we cannot have without any view, right? We should have a view. Otherwise, how do we go ahead, right? We should have our own understanding, our own view. Without that, how can we go ahead, right? So he's saying he is a nihilist. He doesn't have any view. That's what he's saying. So then, I tell you, Venerable Sir, that the Blessed One, so what is the Vijjayamāhita's answer? I tell you, Venerable Sirs, that the Blessed One righteously declares that this is skillful. He declares that this is unskillful, declaring that this is skillful and this is unskillful. He is one who has declared a teaching. He is not a nihilist, one who does not declare anything. So Buddha is saying, no. Vijjayamāhita, he is saying that the Buddha, but the Buddha actually have a view, what we call the right view, or samma drishti, ditti, So you see, all the religious group are founded on certain view, right? Which is called drishti or Pāli ditti. So view. Even the political system is also on certain view, capitalist or say socialist or whatever. So also in religious also different views, right? So we all have a view, right? So what Buddha is saying that he says his view is this is wholesome, this is unwholesome, kushala, akushala. He speaks about that. So now what is this skillful? What is this unskillful? So kushale jnana, akushale jnana. So Buddha said what Buddha says is that when he says skillful, kushala, it is that non-greed, non-hatred, non-delusion is skillful, and unskillful is greed, hatred, delusion. 3 things, right? Greed, hatred, delusion. So when you have greed, that is unskillful, that is wrong. Now, we should also differentiate between greed and desire, right? We should have desire, right? We should have desire to have good thing, have good sort of goals to achieve. But greed is not desire. It is wrong desire, you can call it, right? There is a right desire and a wrong desire. So wrong desire is you want to take somebody's thing in a wrong way. You want to cheat somebody, you want to manipulate somebody, you want to, somehow cheat, deceive somebody. that is greed. Then you want to achieve, right? That is greed. When you want to take somebody's thing and planning, thinking, how can I take somebody's thing, somebody's property, somebody's thing, or whatever, right? Somebody's relationship or anything, right? So like that, somebody's idea, even ideas, anything, you want to take somebody's thing in a wrong way, in a manipulative way, that is greed. That is greed, right? So that is greed, and also as we discussed earlier, that when you want to just depend on sensual pleasures as a source of happiness, that is also greed, because you are thinking that sensual pleasure, engaging in a very obsessive sensual indulgence is a source of happiness. When you think like that, that is also greed, right? So then secondly, hatred. When you hate somebody, right? When you think that, last time I mentioned, he did this to me, he did that to me, he said this to me, he cheated me, he disrespected me, all of that, right? When you think like that, that is hatred. That is hatred, right? Because when you think like that, that makes you agitated, that makes you disturbed, that makes you confused, that makes you depressed, right? So it is not good. Even though somebody might have really done something bad to you, but still, if you keep on harboring, if you keep on thinking all the time, that is wrong. Because that will make you unhappy. So instead you have to think that, okay, it is their karma, or it is past, or it is how the world is. You have to sometime listen to such kind of words which are not pleasant to you, right? Because you are in this world, you have to sometime listen to such certain words which are not so pleasant to you. You can't expect that nobody should say anything unpleasant to you, right? If you expect, then you are going to suffer. You're actually going to suffer. So you have to just keep in mind that, yes, this is how it is. This is the samsara. This is the world. You have to sometimes listen. And you have to think that it is their karma. If they said something that is their karma. So at least you calm down your mind, right? And when your mind is calm, then you can, of course, say whatever you want to say, but making sure that the hatred is gone. So keeping hatred, mind of say, taking revenge, or depressed because of remembering something done to you. So that is not skillful. That is not good, right? And then finally, delusion or ignorance, right? So ignorance is that, actually ignorance is nothing but these two, greed and hatred. So when you know that greed and hatred are not skillful, then it is wisdom. But when you think greed and hatred is justifiable, it is good, you are thinking that, okay, being greedy, being hateful is good. That is ignorance. That is wrong, right? So this is what the Buddha teaches. So you can see this one particular phrase, it just kind of sums up what Buddha's teaching is all about. It's all about that, which is skillful, unskillful. That is greed and hatred. So this is what the whole world is. Today you see there is greed all over everywhere, and there is hatred everywhere. You can see that, a lot of greed, a lot of hatred among people, which is making life quite miserable in the world, right? So there is a problem. And not only it's a problem for the society, for the people, but it is also an obstacle for higher growth, spiritual growth, not just worldly growth, right? So when this was said, they were all silent. When this was said, the wanderer fell silent, abashed, sitting with their shoulder dropping, their head down, brooding at a loss of words. Vajjiyamāhitasutta, the householder. So they were all kind of convinced, all those ascetic people, they were convinced, they just accepted what he said, and then they were all silent. And then this Vajjiyamāhitasutta, he left them. I mean, he just took a leave of them and then went to the Buddha. And he mentioned all of this to the Buddha. And the Buddha said, "Well done, householder, well done. That is how you should periodically and righteously refute those foolish men." I don't say that all asceticism is to be pursued, nor do I say that all asceticism is not to be pursued. I don't say that all observances should be observed, nor do I say that all observances should not be observed. I don't say that all exertion are to be pursued, nor do I say that all exertion are not to be pursued. I don't say that all forfeiture should be forfeited, nor do I say that all forfeiture should not be forfeited. I don't say that all release is to be used for release, nor do I say that all release is not to be used for release. If when asceticism is pursued, unskillful qualities grow and skillful qualities wane, then I tell you that sort of asceticism is not to be pursued. But if when an asceticism is pursued, unskillful qualities wane and skillful qualities grow, then I tell you that sort of asceticism is to be pursued. Similarly, all observances, exertion, release, like that. So, then the Buddha said, well done, sadhu, sadhu. He says, you have to sometime, occasionally, and in a right way, you have to refute them, right? Which means, what Buddha is saying that you can, you can have your own view, right? You can criticize people. There's nothing wrong, right? So, Buddha being a peaceful person, it doesn't mean that he doesn't criticize people. He does, right? But Buddha is saying you have to do in a right way, right? You have to do in a right way when you have a clarity in your mind and when you have love and compassion toward the people, then only you should criticize, right? So this is something the Buddha encourages, right? So among ourselves also, sometimes we have to criticize, isn't it? We have to, as a friend, as a family, as a co-worker, as a society, as a community member, we have to criticize. There's nothing wrong in criticizing, right? But we should criticize, not always, occasionally, sometime. We have to see the time, see the place, and see our own mind. Most importantly, our own mind. We have to see that whether our mind is peaceful or not, whether our mind is compassionate or not, whether our mind is loving or not. We have to check our mind, right? We have to check if we want to criticize somebody. And we should be sure about what we are going to say. We should have clarity in what we are going to say, what we are going to tell. That clarity should be built in ourselves. Then we have to see the right time, right place. Then we have to criticize, right? We should not just criticize like that, because that would mean you are just venting your own emotion, your own anger, your own hatred, right? So it should not come from ego also, right? Ego, hatred, anger, or, superiority, inferiority, all this kind of wrong, jealousy. With this emotion, it is not good, right? But what Buddha is saying, and I'm sure that this person must be Vajjiyamāhitasutta, he must be one of those Aryas. Arya means somebody who achieved some level of enlightenment, right? So that's why I think he's encouraging him, because we should also keep in mind that this person Vijayamāhita, he must be one of those enlightened disciples, right? Which means they have actually realized enlightenment to one level, So they can do that, because they will have realized the Dharma, they realize the truth. But we should be careful, because we ourselves, unless have achieved some level of enlightenment or understanding, then we have to be really, really careful when it comes to religious topic, But of course, in your day-to-day life, again, in day-to-day life, you don't need to be an enlightened person to criticize somebody, but at least you should have, this kindness, compassionate, and understanding, clarity, and peace. Then only you can criticize. So that's what Buddha is saying, that he is saying that I don't, say don't follow all kinds of asceticism. I also don't say follow all kinds of asceticism. I don't say all kinds of observances, means all kinds of observance means certain practices, So also exertion, certain kind of exertion means certain kind of effort, when you make effort, right? When you put in effort, you just put a lot of effort, And so also certain things to be give up. Forfeited means something to be give up. So when you see, for example, you give up, like say sometimes you give up your hair, go to some temple, give up your hair, like that, right? Whatever you give up, certain thing you give up. So whatever, or release, something you just release from your heart. So what Buddha is saying, that I don't say, give up everything or practice everything or practice all kinds of asceticism, but at the same time I don't say practice everything, I don't say. So, but what he says is, when you practice certain asceticism or observances or certain effort or whatever, basically in simple word, whatever you are practicing, whether religious or whatever, I think in this more specifically religious practices or spiritual practices, if when an asceticism is pursued, unskillful qualities grow and skillful qualities wane. Then I tell you that sort of asceticism is not to be pursued. But if when an asceticism is pursued, unskillful qualities wane and skillful qualities grow, then I tell you that sort of asceticism is to be. So whatever you are practicing, if good qualities come in your mind, right? If good things come in your mind, if you feel good, if you get happiness, if you get joy, if you get freedom, if you feel good, then practice it, But if you are not getting peaceful, happy, or clarity, understanding, then don't practice it, don't follow it, right? So it depends on practice to practice. In fact, within for example, Buddhist teaching, right? Buddha is also saying that Buddha also gave different kinds of technique, right? Different kinds of teaching. So Buddha is saying that what suits you, you practice it. Within the Buddha's teaching also. Forget about all other religion. Within the Buddha's own teaching, Buddha is saying, if certain thing suits you, you practice it. If the certain thing doesn't suit you, don't practice it, right? So we have to see what brings us, as I mentioned you about those optional, voluntary dutangas, ascetic practices, like, only staying under a tree, those kind of practices. So this is what Buddha's view, When Vijayamālya, the householder, had been instructed, urged, roused, encouraged by the Blessed One with a talk on Dhamma, he got up from his seat and, having bowed down to the Blessed One, left, keeping the Blessed One on his right side. So now Buddha instructed him, urged him, basically he gave him a Dhamma talk to encourage him to give up, to bring joy, understanding. And that is one of the reasons why we give Dhamma talk, why you come and listen to this teaching, because that helps us to have this clarity, understanding, joy, within our heart, right? So it's important for you, for all of us to listen, to talk Dharma every now and then, just like this every Sunday. So he did that. He listened and then he paid respect to my Buddha and left. Not long afterward, the Blessed One addressed the monks. Monks, even a monk who has long penetrated Dhamma in this doctrine and discipline would do well periodically and righteously to refute the wanderers of other persuasion in just the way Vajjiyamāhita, the householder, has done. So this is what the Buddha said, that you have to, just like him, if a monk or anybody, for anybody, so who are good in the Dharma, who have some knowledge, understanding, practice, then you can refute, So therefore, so the meaning here is that if you want to criticize, other religion, so we have to be, you have to first very much strong in your own religion, in your own teaching, in your own practice, right? If you don't have in-depth knowledge, in-depth experience, then it is not right to criticize somebody because you don't have full knowledge, you have half knowledge. And as Buddha also said, half knowledge, little knowledge is danger, right? So it is good, it is important for you to have good knowledge first so that you can debate with other, or you can have some kind of not even debate, we should call it dialogue. We can have some kind of dialogue with other religious group or whatever other religious group or anybody. So we need to have some kind of some good amount of knowledge and practices. That is very important. So this is what the Buddha is suggesting. So we can learn many things from this sutta today. What has been said, maybe Buddhapala Bhante can give a summary of what we can learn. So, and then give a blessing to everybody. So I conclude here. May you all be happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.